Hello, good day. My name is Seun Ajayi. I'm currently undergoing the course Access to Higher Education in Nursing. And today we shall be talking about the topic Perspectives in Psychology. Perspective in Psychology. First of all, we shall begin by defining the topic. What is psychology? Psychology can be defined as the scientific study of the mind and human behavior. Psychology can be defined as the scientific study of the mind and human behavior, encompassing the thoughts, the feelings of human and animal actions. Encompassing the thoughts, the feelings, motives of human and animal actions. Psychology also explores mental process, that means the way we think. It explores the way we reason. It explores biological factors, social factors, and environmental factors. And psychology can be divided into different categories, and which we will be looking at two in this video. We have biological psychology, we have social psychology, we have psychoanalysis psychology, we have behaviorism, we have cognitive psychology. And in this video, we'll be looking at behaviorism in psychology and cognitive psychology. First of all, let's start with behaviorism in psychology. What is behaviorism? Behaviorism is a theoretical perspective that believes that behaviors, the way people behave, are as a result of their association with the environment. The way people behave is as a result of what they have learned, their interaction with the environment. And such, this leads to the interaction with the environment gives an environmental response, which is known as the environmental stimuli. The theory believes that there is no character or behavior that is inherited. All behaviors are as a result of interaction with the environment. And there are various scientists that have written regarding this theory. We shall be looking at some of them and their works. We have B.F. Skinner, we have Ivan Pavlov, we have John B. Watson. And all these scientists have written regarding behaviorism in psychology, and their works have shown and proven these works. Next, we are going to look at the key assumptions of psychology. The key assumptions of psychology, like I said, psychology also believes in scientific experiments, and we have various scientists that have proved this. Psychology in behaviorism is a scientific experiment, and it believes that behavior can be learned from the environment, and this behavior can be learned and reduced. And this theory believes that the environment has influence. This theory does not believe that free will is what is responsible for a human and animal behavior. This theory believes that the environmental factors have a great influence, and this has been studied by various scientists, and research has been done on animals and has been used on humans, because human and animals have similar learning patterns. The key assumptions of scientists is behavior can be observed and behavior can be learned from interaction with the environment. Next, we shall be talking about the key work of theorists in behaviorism. We have scientists that have worked in the past, and we have B.F. Skinner, is a scientist that worked, he proved using 3 types of behavior. He used the Skinner box experiment to talk about behaviors. Behaviors is shaped by, our behaviors is shaped by what we learn from the environment. And he talked about 3 types of behaviors with his experiment using the Skinner rat experiment. He talked about the positive reinforcement, the negative reinforcement, and reward or punishment. And he also proved this through the experiment, and he talked that every action always has a reward. And if people have been reprimanded, if people have been punished for their actions, they will avoid repeating the same thing. He used the Skinner rat experiment through operant conditioning to explain this. He put a rat in a box and he put a lever in that box, and the rat always presses the lever, and when the rat presses the lever, there's a food that always drop into a tray. The rat continues to press the lever and gets food by the dropping of food on the tray. And he termed this as positive reinforcement because the rat was getting a positive result. Also, another scientist, Ivan Pavlov, did an experiment by conditioning dogs to respond to the sound of a bell. Anytime the dogs hear the bell, he did this through his work in classical conditioning. The dogs were always responding through their salivation, and which is the unconditioned response to the food. Even before the assistant brings the food, when they hear the footsteps of the assistant, they were always responding to the sound of the bell. He used this to explain the association of the environmental stimuli, the environmental factor that is responsible for human behaviors, human and animal behaviors. Next, we are going to talk about cognitive psychology. The cognitive psychology, this theory believes that the mental mind is responsible for the way we act. It believes the mental process, the way we think, the mental process is responsible for the way we think. In cognitive psychology, this theory believes that the way we think, the way people reason, their belief, their memory, their perception, their thoughts, their feelings, the way they see things, the way they can solve things, is responsible for their behavior. It believes that the internal mental process, the mental ability, their thoughts, everything, the way they think, the way they see things, the way they reason, is responsible, their belief is responsible for their behaviors. And we have 2 scientists that worked to bring out this theory. and their works have been seen and known. Next, we shall talk about the key assumptions of cognitive psychology. Like I said, the mind is like a computer. The mind is like a computer. The mind understands things. The mind is like a processing unit. Cognitive psychology, it talks about the internal mental process. The mind process information. The mind is like a computer. The mind is responsible for the internal mental processes, the way people think, the way people reason. All these are the key assumptions. Just like a processing unit, information is being processed and there's always results. Next, we shall be talking about the key work of theorists in cognitive psychology. The key work of theorists, we shall be talking about the works of two scientists, Jean Piaget and Lev Vygotsky. Jean Piaget and Lev Vygotsky. These scientists have worked in the past. We shall be talking about Jean Piaget, and this scientist his theory proved that a child goes through different developmental stages, starting from what the child can see, what he can touch, what he can hear, what he can perceive. The child goes through different 4 developmental stages. The growth of a child is a gradual process, and yes, he wrote a book regarding intelligence of a child. He wrote the book regarding intelligence of a child to prove his work. Jean Piaget is a very known scientist that proved that child's development undergoes 4 different stages. They grow gradually. Another scientist is Lev Vygotsky. Lev Vygotsky is another scientist. His theory was on the socio-cultural development of a child. The socio-cultural development. And he spoke that in his theory, the cognitive development of a child can be related to his socio-cultural interaction. And what do we mean by socio-cultural interaction? It means the child's interaction with other people, the interaction of the child with others, starting from when the child is young, what the child can do independently, and what the child can achieve with the help of others. We spoke that the child needs the help of others in growth, in growing and developing. The child needs the help of his parents or guidance in having a good development, in understanding the world around. Next, we shall be talking about the similarities and differences between these two perspectives. The similarities and differences between cognitive psychology and behaviorism. First, both cognitive psychology and behaviorism believes that the environmental factors influence is what is responsible for behavior of human and animals. They believe both perspectives believe that the environmental factors influence the behavior is responsible for the behavior, the actions of human and animals. Behaviorism believes in observable behaviors. Behaviorism believes in observable behaviors. That means behaviors are learned, while cognitive psychology believes that behavior is as a result of how we think, the internal mental processes. Both behaviorism and psychology believe that determinism That is, there are some factors that are responsible for human actions. There are some unknown factors that is beyond human actions. There are some unknown factors that are responsible for human actions. Both believe in determinism. There are some unknown factors that are responsible for human actions. Next, we shall be talking about an evaluation of the two perspectives in contemporary issues in psychology. An evaluation of the two perspectives in contemporary issues in psychology. An evaluation of the work of the two perspectives in contemporary issues in psychology can be seen in applied behavioral therapy. It can be seen in behavioral change campaign. It can be seen in autism. It can be seen in cognitive behavioral therapy. It can be seen in educational system. All this perspective work of scientists, it has been used in our contemporary issues in our world today to solve human problems. By using different therapies, the cognitive behavioral therapies is this therapy helps in reshaping a person's thoughts. It helps in reshaping a person's thoughts. It can also be seen in post-traumatic stress disorder or eating disorder. People that have eating disorder, they go through this therapy. The therapy is between the therapist and the client, the session, and people with negative thoughts. That's the cognitive behavioral therapy. Now, the cognitive behavioral therapy helps people to reshape their thoughts, helps them to be positive. They identify negative thoughts, they solve problems about thinking, they help them to think positively, identify behaviors, identify problems, and solve the problems. All these are the places and many other in every other educational, therapy, workplace. All these works of scientists can be applied to solve human problems, to solve depression, to solve anxiety. All this work have been put together and it has really helped human. It has really helped mankind. Thank you for listening.